Welcome, guys, to another episode of the Monkey Mind Journal. It's your boy Woozy, and we're back at it again. Another episode. I missed you guys. Really, I can't say it enough. I really enjoyed making this podcast. It's just maybe because it feels more like, obviously, with it being the Monkey Mind Journal, it feels a little bit more like a reflection or like like a reflection therapy, something like that. Like, kind of helps me clear my head a little bit. But nonetheless, I don't know. I just feel like I don't know who watches this or listens to this, but I love having it feels like a conversation. I love feeling like I'm just talking to you guys. I wish you guys were responding. But nonetheless, I've really been enjoying making this. With that being said, do me a favor. If you haven't already, subscribe to the YouTube channel, rate the podcast 5 stars on Apple Music, and share this. If you get the video, if you get the email, forward this to somebody who you think might enjoy it. I don't know if I say that, but you can also do that. Forward it to somebody that might enjoy it, and we can do it that way as well. But in the case, thank you guys for coming to another episode. I have been MIA, head in the sand, because life has been busy for me, but that's a good thing. It's a good thing, but the most important thing I've been trying to do is, what's the word I would use? Get a grip, create a routine. That's what I've been struggling on, because I had a routine, was not working. So we had to pivot, because the routine I had worked until it didn't. So I had to pivot, and now I am in a better routine. I'm caught up on my video editing for the most part, except for extracurricular projects. But I'm caught up. I'm back making Monkey Mind Journal episodes, and things are good. But before I get into what has been going on, I want to give you guys the song of the week. The song of the week for me is called Daisy World. No, it's not called that. It's Fifth and Western by Daisy World. I really love this song. It's off their EP Some, S-O-M-E. Daisy World is a LA-based band, kind of like an alternative indie band feel, if you like that vibe. And it's really, really good. I really love this song. Has like a nice melody to it, has a breakdown in the middle. And, you know, your boy is still fresh off a breakup, even though it's not fresh anymore. But with that, I love this song. Just kind of talks about like realizing that something isn't working. Like, she's singing like how good it feels and it makes her feel, and what the person is doing and things like that, like the positives of it. But also it sounds like she's realizing it's not working. So she keeps making the point like, don't pinch me, I don't wake up from this dream. And even towards the end of the song, she kind of starts to like think to herself, like, am I even, like wondering is she tripping, basically? Like, maybe it feels so good. Like, am I the one who's like wilding, like, type stuff. So really, really good song. Share that to you guys. Look it up, Spotify, Apple Music, maybe even YouTube. Also, check out the rest of her music, or their music, their group. Some is really good, and Have a Snack. Those are 2 EPs. Check those out. Really fire. You heard it here first. But with that, I want to check in with you guys. Let you guys know what's going on. Before I go into, let me ask you a question. How you feeling? Hope you feeling good. If you care to share and you got the email, reply to this email. Tell me how you been feeling. Tell me what the first 3 months of your year has been. Have you been on track with your goals? Do you have goals? Are you setting new goals? I'm in a point of setting new goals. And yeah, I just want to, bring it in. If you need an accountability partner, reach out. I'm here. I'm listening. I'm not just a voice talking into the void. If you guys want to reach out, feel free to reach out, and I will reach back. So if you get this in the email, just reply straight to the email. Or if you listen to this on YouTube, Shout out to my YouTube people. Do me a favor, subscribe, like, and comment how you been feeling. I want to hear how you guys are feeling. But yeah, as far as what's been going on with me, man, I think last time I was talking about trying to get a contract. I finally got the contract signed. Now just fulfilling that. I don't know if I talked about dabbling into event videography. I got my first client. I got someone's email that I need to reach out to as well. I don't know if I also talked about sitting down with the production. There was a guy who has a production studio here in Sacramento. Sat down, talked to him, and had a really great conversation. Had a really good time. A lot of good things have been happening. Feels good. So, overall, I've been feeling like purposeful in things that I've been doing. It's been tough, but that's what comes with it. Having to make some sacrifices, but again, that's what comes with it. So really trying to dial in and sit in what I'm doing. Something that I want to talk about is that it's funny when I took on this contract, before I did, I was a little bit nervous. 'Cause I'm like, oh, it's a high, like, workload, heavy workload. I was kind of nervous about it. I'm like, oh man, I'm going to be making like one a week type beat. And I'm like, oh, that's a lot. I don't know if I'll be able to do that. It's not whatever. But something I didn't expect from is that by doing that, I've been learning a lot, really. I've been learning to tweak with my cameras a little bit better. I've been learning how to play with lighting a little bit better. Obviously, I've had editing down packed for a while, but even then, like a little bit, just learning that one thing that can streamline it that much better. Learning tips on how to get through longer podcasts and stuff like that. So, it's been dope to like apply some of the things I've been learning and making it better, and even visually seeing after each one, it looking better and better and better. I've been really enjoying that. I've been something I didn't expect, something that I subconsciously know that if you keep doing it, you get better, obviously, but having that knowledge of stuff of what I'm doing, but constantly having to do it allows me to constantly like focus on one thing and do better at that. And that's been really, really dope. Enjoying that. Got my work truck at work. I don't really talk about my job, but I'm a salesman. I've officially become a salesman at my job. And with that, I finally got my work truck. So been out there doing cold calls, and that's probably been the scariest / most exciting thing. 'Cause it's one thing when you playing around with it and like, oh, we're thinking about doing it, and they'll give you some tasks here and there. But to like literally be like, no, we invested in you, got me a work phone, a work truck, and everything. Like, now it's real. So kind of really feeling in that role too. So it's been a lot of transition, a lot of change for the better, but it's been pretty cool, kind of filling in the role and filling in the shoes that I have. Yeah, I'm just grateful, very grateful, even as hard as it is, and sometimes how challenged I feel. I'm very happy, very excited, and very blessed to be in the position that I'm in. And I'm, like I said, I was gonna keep on moving, keep on grooving. Still sober. Was sober for monk mode, but I haven't been the most monk. Like, I've been working on my craft. I haven't been drinking, been getting up early, stuff like that, but I haven't been with the monk mode protocol. Obviously, there's other stipulations involved, and I have not been the most locked in with those things. Like, the biggest, the non-negotiables was the meditation and prayer, no alcohol, and the 30 minutes exercise. I haven't been exercising. I'm on and off with the meditation and prayer. I meditate and pray in the morning, but the thing I'm most consistent with is obviously the alcohol. I haven't drank at all. And also have some other variables that I haven't been doing. But nonetheless, we're gonna make it work. We're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep on striving and keep on. This is about the effort of trying it. I didn't think I was gonna be perfect about it. So that's still been going on. That's been the update on that, and that's pretty much it. But with that, again, I spoke on a little bit about sacrifices. With that, I've had a lot of tough conversations lately. Um, and with, the hard part about tough conversations for me personally is that I'm just like conflict averse. Like, I just don't, I hate having tough conversations because I hate having to like, I hate the back and forth. Like me say something, how I'm feeling or what's going on or how I see something, and like, having to deal with the other person giving their retort, and then like the back and forth that comes where it's like you're trying to tell them how you feel, but you're also not trying to hurt their feelings, but their feelings are hurt. So you're trying to mend those feelings while also not backtracking on how you feel and what you mean. And it becomes this delicate dance that is very challenging. And especially when you have to have multiple back to back, it can be a little bit of exhausting. Again, with this busy last couple months, I've had to have conversations with certain people about what's a priority and what's not a priority, and even like standing firm on some of the things that I've said, and that has not been the most fun. It's never fun, but it's one of the things that need to be done. And with that, I was thinking about the lessons that come from it. Not even the lessons, but the things I wrote down 3 things that I realize are important when having tough conversations. And I want to share that with you guys. And you guys can use them, or if you can either use them or not. I'm going to give them. Take 1, take all 3, take 2, take none. Do whatever you want. But here are the 3 things that I feel like, obviously going through these conversations, are important to make those tough conversations that much easier. And the first thing is the most important thing. So if you don't take none of these, at least apply this one. Honesty is everything. Say it again. Honesty is everything. When you're having these conversations, especially when you're having a conversation as far as like maybe a boundary, or maybe even they're revealing something to you. They're revealing something to you that is not probably the best. Maybe it's not something that you want to hear or something that you expect from them. I think the biggest thing is honesty. Honesty, it's being honest when you're talking to that person, but also creating space for that person to be honest. Judgment free. Let that person be honest and not judge them. And when you're giving information, be honest, but also be tact. I think it's very constructive. And it's the biggest thing about the reason why you want to be honest, because it lets everybody in the conversation know where everybody stands. Like some people are like half honest, where they kind of like say like an innuendo or say something that's kind of like up in the air, like ethereal, and it can leave room for confusion. But by being honest and being not blunt, but being straightforward, it allows both parties to engage in a conversation like appropriately. We both know what we're talking about now. It's no question or nothing like that. It's there. It's out in the open. And it will allow you guys to come to a better resolution because you guys know exactly what you guys are solving for, instead of like saying something like ethereal or saying something like you said, like kind of beating around the bush, and you guys are solving for a problem that's not really the problem, So that's the first thing. Second thing, and this is for the person engaging the tough conversation. This is more if you have to speak to somebody and you're kind of nervous about setting a boundary, or kind of nervous about a stance. The biggest thing you can do, or the best thing you can do, is to be fearless. We live in a society right now where people are kind of more timid, and again, like like I said earlier, a little bit more averse to offending somebody or averse to conflict, don't want it, because of that, it kind of like they're like dancing around, letting people like they say how they feel, and then they backtrack, or well, I was just saying, or something like that. It's like, instead of doing that, like, just be fearless in that stance. Like, really, we understand this when we're dealing with strangers, like telling them what it is and like kind of like dealing with it. But I feel like we fall short when we deal with people that we know. It's easy for us to like know where we stand, but allow a person that we're close to slip or slide through or slip up and kind of be, treat you out of character, or do things in your presence that you not really approve of. Again, to avoid conflict. But I think by, if you're fearless in it, you avoid all conflict, because they won't even try you, in a sense. They'll just, it comes with a layer of respect. Like, it comes with a layer of respect. Another thing is, I feel like by being fearless in your stance and being firm in your stance, it allows you to navigate different contexts. If, I'm trying to think of an example. If, like, example, me not drinking, if I'm like, I don't drink, and I'm fearless in that stance and like strong in that stance, any context, it won't change. Like, what if it's a birthday party? I'm not drinking. Well, what if it's a bachelor party? Or it's like, no, bro, I'm not drinking. I don't care if it's a party. I don't care if it's just chilling. I don't care. I'm not drinking until summer. Point blank, period. And with that, it sets clear boundaries and makes it clear to the other person of what's going on. Now, if I was like, I'm really been thinking about not drinking. I haven't been drinking lately, so I'm kind of thinking about still doing that to the summer. We'll see what's going on. And then someone throws a context of, what if it's out partying? Like, no, see, I definitely don't want to drink when it's partying. What if it's just like some friends drinking? Oh, I might drink then. And there's nothing wrong with like having that. There's nothing wrong with that if that's what you intend. You're just trying to like, what's the word? You're trying to minimize excessive drinking. But for me, like, for me, it's a discipline thing. It's a focus thing. It's, just a discipline and a focus thing. So with that, no, in all areas, there's no drinking. I don't care if it's one glass of wine. I don't care if it's a shot. I don't care if it's a beer. I don't want none of it. It's just, we focusing, and by being fearless in your stance, it allows you allows you not to be knocked to and fro when people are switching in context and things like that. Well, what about this and that? If you firm in your stance, that can't happen. It's like, it don't matter what happens. This is what it is. No question about it. And the last thing, so the first thing was being honest. Second thing is being fearless in your stance and being strong in your stance. The last thing is letting it breathe. I think the biggest thing is, not the thing, I keep saying that, I feel like I said that for everything. Like, a personal challenge I have is when I tell somebody something, especially when I'm like reaffirming a boundary, or I'm saying something that I'm fearful of how that person might feel. The biggest thing that I end up messing up on is not letting it breathe. What that means is, if I say something, I might say something that I know might make you feel a ways or upset. And because of that, my natural inclination is to reach out shortly after and be like, bruh, it's good, it's good, it's good, it's good, it's good, it's good. And I'm not saying not to do that. It depends on the person. But for the most part, I think sometimes by letting it breathe, especially when it's something serious or somebody who keeps reoffending, I think by letting it breathe, that space allows that person to know that you're serious. And I think it allows everybody's mind to like basically lets the dust settle and allows for when you guys do come back together, you guys can have a more constructive conversation if you guys didn't the first time. So I think sometimes you gotta just let it sit. You got to say it, have a conversation, and let it be what it is. You don't have to keep bringing it up and things like that. Like, no, what we gotta talk about it again for? I said what I said. That's what it is. Respectfully. Sometimes people like to keep bringing the conversation and you keep going into a loop and a loop and a loop and a loop. And they're doing that to test you to see if you're really standing on what you're standing on. I say just forget all that. Don't even let them do that. When you have a conversation, especially if you recognize that pattern that the conversation keeps going in this loop and this loop and this loop and this loop, someone has to break the cycle. And that can mean different things. That means the person understands, or sometimes means you got to walk away. Whatever the case be, again, you got to be fearless in that. Be fearless in understanding that that's the possibility. Which will also make you reassess if this is something serious. So I would say that's one that I struggle with, but I've learned over time that is the best way of handling it. Like, you gotta just let it sit. Like, let a person know that you're serious. Don't double back, because you double back, you might let it, it comes off as you playing. Like, how you gonna say you feel this way and this YZ and you're not worried about the consequences? But when the consequences arise, here you are doubling back like, no. It's like, you just got to deal with what it is. And that's easier said than done. But I think a skill that if you focus on can bring a lot of fruit. Personally, I've seen a lot of fruit from that skill. As far as even if you might lose a friendship or relationship or a partnership or something like that, one, that person will always respect you. And two, obviously, if you're having that issue, if you're running into this issue, it means you guys weren't on the same page in the first place. So if that person has to walk away or you have to walk away, it's gonna free you up emotionally, mentally. So, yeah, those are the things that I feel like are important, or the lessons I've learned, and I've the things that I've applied when it comes to having tough conversations is, one, being honest, two, being fearless and strong in your stance, and three, letting it breathe. Or as the kids say nowadays, stand on business. I said what I said, and it is what it is. Take it or leave it, pretty much. And we can either move past it or we end the situation. And that's all it can be. But yeah, that's what I wanted to share as far as that goes. But with that, let's get into some of the current events. These current events are a little dated because these notes are a little dated, but nonetheless, these are things that I really, really want to talk about. They're heavy on my heart. Let me just double check and make sure there's not something else I forgot, because I know I made another list. Because your boy is listicle, boy. He'll make some lists for you. Let me just double check. Nope, I should be good with this list. So one thing I wanted to talk about was one thing I want to talk about is Vince Staples. Vince Staples recently had a show called The Vince Staples Show. So with that, he was doing promotion, which means he's going to radio station interview to interview, promoting the show. But I think a lot of people can agree they love a Vince Staples interview, because there's one thing about Vince Staples, that boy authentic. You never getting like a fake version of Vince Staples. He understands he's an entertainer. He understands he's meant to like, kind of like be a light, be an entertainer. but that don't stop him from saying what he really feel. Like he not scared of that. So he recently was on The Breakfast Club, and obviously I love The Breakfast Club, love Charlamagne the God, question mark DJ Envy. Happy that they have Jess Hilarious on there. I think she's a great person to add on there. But when Vince Staples was on there, he had a couple of things that really stood out to me about that interview. One was he did this thing that I do a lot, which is like, if y'all hear me sometimes, and I don't know if I do it really on this podcast, but I do it a lot in conversation or when I'm telling stories. I always say shout out to somebody. So that really stood out to me because I do that a lot, and that's what he'll do. Like when he shares something or tells a story, he's quick to like, reach, say like shout out to other people who helped him. So like what the Vince Staples show, he was saying shout out to Kenya. I believe it's somebody who works in Netflix who helped him get the show and helped him learn and everything like that. Shout out to Quint. He said shout out to Quinta Brunson for, allowing him to, teaching him and giving advice on scripting and stuff like that. So there's a lot of people that he shouted out, and I don't know, that really resonated with me personally because I can relate to that in that, I'm not going to ever act like it was me. I got a lot of people behind me. I got a lot of shout outs I'm going to give. Don't ever let me get on the podium, boy. It's going to be shout out city. They're going to kick me off. Shout out to this person, shout out to this person. I'm going to have to make a list of shout outs. But, yeah, he did that, and I thought that was really dope. I think we take for granted how much we can learn from everybody, even just the homies, even just like coworkers, and even like some people you just meet like one time at the grocery store. Like there's a lot of lessons that we can take from people, and I think that's that's a lesson that I've learned a long time ago, that a lesson could come from anywhere. So I think that's where shout outs always come from for me. And I don't know. I just appreciate him talking about that. There's another thing he talked about. Sorry, I'm reading my notes. There was another point that he brought up that I really enjoyed, and it was regarding the Black experience. So there's been an ongoing conversation in my personal life about what is like being pro-Black, what is cooning, what is like tap dancing, what is selling out, like all these different conversations around like what is being authentic. It boils down to this: what's being authentic and what is selling out, essentially. Like what is being authentic? Where's the line between being authentic to yourself and doing something for a bag, or where's the line between like, this is what I truly believe, or this is something I'm in opposition of something else. And the reason I bring it up is because Vince Staples in his interview was talking about the delicate balance that there is of like sharing the Black experience, but doing it in a way that's not like selling out, or doing it in a way that's poking fun at that. It's like showcasing it in its true and authentic way. So, especially when we talk about getting to bigger platforms, like, I got archetypes of Black people in my life, and the different, some of them are stereotypical, some aren't. And it could be easy to make fun at some of the more like stereotypical ones, because there is some humor in them, because we all got an uncle who act a certain way, and in that you do a lot of funny stuff unbeknownst to themselves. Is that a word? Unbeknownst. Basically, they do a lot of funny stuff without even really thinking about it. Like they just living their life, but it's almost comedy in a sense, in its own right, because why are you acting like that? So, he gave, when Vince Staples was talking about it, because in the Vince Staples show, it's like about his life, especially growing up in L.A. And he was talking about the difference, or the most important thing when it comes to showcasing those experiences and like translating them to the big screen is to be educated in the necessary skills to express that experience. What that means, to put that in layman terms, basically, if you're gonna do it tastefully and with skill. So if I'm going to showcase, the Black experience from my life, like talk about an uncle or an aunt or something like that, something funny that people can relate to, don't do it. You don't have to do it in a slapstick way or in a way that's like demeaning. If you take some time and use some of the skills like storytelling and camera skills and color and stuff like that, use the different techniques as you can convey that same feeling, but also make it honest and authentic. I think the good example is, I haven't seen the show, but I seen a clip when he's in the bank, and it's like the dude robbing the bank, but he knew Vince Staples, like they was homies and stuff like that. Like, that's a good way of like using a trope, but also making it something like, I don't know if I use the word relatable, but something that's authentic. Like, I literally got homie, like, it's basically like almost like him saying like, I really got homies that really be doing stuff like this, like, and like we really cool, like they genuine people, like I know they mama and stuff like that. So that was a plot device, I felt like, to explain that, instead of like kind of like poking fun at that and making fun of the person for whatever. I thought that was pretty cool. So I like that conversation he had. There's one more he had where he was talking about the question. Someone asked him on another interview. They asked him when he fell in love with hip hop, and he basically said, "I never fell in love with hip hop. Basically, there's never a day I fell in love with hip hop." And they brought it up like, "What do you mean you never fell in love with hip hop?" And when he explained it, it made so much sense to me, because he said when people ask me that question, when I fell in love with hip hop, is like asking me when I fell in love with my mom and my dad. There's not a day that you fell in love with your mom and your dad. It just always been a thing. Hip hop, he said, being a Black person in America, there's not a day that hip hop's not in your life. Like, if we being honest, like there's always some inkling of that somewhere in our lives. So to ask that question is dumb. Like you said, he's like, ask me something about some white shit, like when I fell in love with charcuteries or something. That's literally what he said. And it had me weak, but it's like, I think that's such a real statement, because I think about that, when people ask you, especially when you have like a skill and you're excelling at a high level with that skill, people are quick to ask you, how did you know, how did you learn to do that? How did XYZ? And as I get asked those questions myself, I find that a more increasingly irritating and hard to answer question, because they're really, like, when it comes to videography and stuff like this, like, yeah, there's a timeline of when I started video editing and stuff like that, but there was never a day that I just fell in love with video editing. Excuse me. There was never a day I fell in love with photography. There's never a day I fell in love with these different things. I just always been, it's things that I've been around and I've dabbled with, and over time just grew into. I can tell you the time I started editing with DaVinci Resolve. I can tell you about the time I started using certain cameras. I can tell you about that, but I can never tell you the day that, like, yeah, this is the day that I fell in love with photography. Like, it's a cute question. A lot of interviews, they'll talk about that, and some people have certain moments like that. But I think it's one of those questions that just don't make they don't really make sense. Like, what are you really asking me? are you asking me, is there a key moment, stuff like that? But it's like for some people there ain't. Like I just been, it's just been in me. And I really like when he talked about that. It speaks also to the point that sometimes we can overanalyze how the world works. Like I think black people in hip hop is a good example. Like asking me the day that I fell in love with rap music or hip hop is such a hard question. Because again, I can't think of a day that there wasn't hip hop or rap playing. Like, I know the day I listened to Kanye and stuff like that, but it's like, to ask me like the day that I knew that rap music was my favorite genre of music, like there isn't a day. It was just something I was always playing. I never not liked it. I never shied away from it. It's just always been a thing. So it's like, why are you trying to like what? And again, what's the point of like knowing like this is the moment that I fell in love with rap music? Like, is it because somebody wanted to like recreate that? Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I never understood it. Again, like I'm over just trying to answer that or trying to think it through is complex in its own way, right? Basically, you just we gotta listening to him made me realize like sometimes we just follow a path, and it just we just grow in that. We don't all just have an epiphany that it wasn't like one day I was listening to country music and then I heard one dude rhyme. I'm like, oh shit, I really love rap music this whole time. Like, no, it just like I'm even with video, like it's never like I edited one video and was like, this is it for me. Like it was just a thing. Like I enjoyed, like I had to video edit for something, and through it, I slowly but surely fell in love. At first, I hated it because it took so long and it was a lot. But over time, I'm like, dang, you can do this, and it became a thing. Like over time, you just fall into it again. Like how do you tell how do you answer the question when I fell in love with my mom? Like I don't know. I just existed. I was in constant flow back and forth with my mom, and over time, I've grown to love her to the point where I can never not love her. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know. Anyways, I also linked that interview down below if you guys want to check it out. Again, I think it's a good interview. Love Vince Staples. Any Vince Staples interview is going to be a good interview, but that was a good one. I think there's also a one that on Paul George's podcast, he had an interview. That's a good one. I haven't finished watching that one, but he got some funny takes. If you like sports, I think you should check it out. Shout out to Vince Staples. Always appreciated him. He always makes me realize that at the higher levels, you can also be yourself. Him and Tyler, the Creator, make me realize at the higher levels, you can literally be yourself. You just got to like get out. You basically just got to get out of that. Like, it's a business, and you got to show up and do certain things, but that don't mean you can't be yourself and enjoy it. So, I really appreciate that. Another news that's now old news by the time of this shows, but nonetheless, Akira Toriyama has passed away. That is the manga creator of Dragon Ball Z. Fun fact, when Akira Toriyama won the award for anime, for one of the best animes, he admitted that he didn't watch much of the Dragon Ball Z anime because, again, he made the manga, which is the drawings for the book. He never really was involved with the anime like that. He just was involved with the character design and stuff like that for the anime. Yeah, man, this is one of those ones that you never realize how much a person means to you till they're gone. I was never an avid look up about Akira Toriyama or watch interviews or something like that, but I think him being attached to one of the most influential animes of my generation is enough for me. I think hearing the news, I was immediately my heart sank. I was heartbroken. I was shook. And I think in reflection, it made me realize again, I didn't realize how impactful Dragon Ball Z has been in my life. I think since I was a tween or even younger, maybe 9 or 8, Dragon Ball Z has always constantly been in my life. There hasn't been a day. Cousins like Dragon Ball Z. Friends, we play Dragon Ball Z video games, watch Dragon Ball Z anime. even in college, watched Dragon Ball Z anime when it came back. I used to be one of those kids who looked up Super Saiyan 1000, Super Saiyan 6, Super Saiyan 100. Like, look up those different things. Like, legendary video of that kid who, like, the black kid try to go Super Saiyan. Like, it's always been a part of me and part of the culture that I've been a part of. And it's just to think that if that one person didn't do what he did or didn't exist, a good chunk of my life would just be null and void. It's crazy. And it's cool at the same time. Like, yeah, man, rest in peace, Toriyama. Prayers to his family. I think he was only in his 60s, so he was pretty young. But yeah, I kind of wanted to. First of all, I do want to say I gave you guys insight to my life. I don't have any tattoos right now. I do plan on getting tattoos. For every reason, I got this concept that I want to have tattoos only on my left side of my body. And with that, I want my arm to be like anime and cartoons, because I feel like those are some of, if not the most influential things in my life. I don't know what it is about cartoons and anime that's always done something to me. I think the ability to draw something and like invoke a feeling, not to mention just to see the creativity that some people have in making these figures, is just really dope. So I want to get a sleeve like dedicated to that. I don't want a full sleeve. I think I'm gonna do like a half sleeve, because I want to be able to wear a dressed up shirt and roll my sleeve up. So I might go elbow up, maybe like mid forearm up, and just like be able to keep it hidden. Not because I want to hide it from anybody per se, but just because I like the aesthetic of like wearing like something like this or like a dress shirt and rolling it up. And I just like that quote unquote clean aesthetic. Not that people have tattoos are dirty, but I just like seeing my skin, my brown, beautiful brown skin. And I just don't want that to be, I don't really want the tattoos to get in the way of that, but I do want the tattoos nonetheless, because, I just like the art of it. It was one of those things where one of the things, because I won't stick on this topic too far, because depending on who you are, you might not know who this is, or it might not mean much to you, but I did want to share it because there was a post that came across my feed where it was a bunch of different quotes from some of the biggest manga artists, manga and anime creators, and they all attributed their beginnings, the reason why they even did what they did, because of Akira Toriyama. And I think the thing that stood out to me about that is that, like, what it's like, because again, like I said, if he didn't exist, not only is the stuff that he created wouldn't have existed, there's so many people who came after him that wouldn't have done what they did. And I think that's like a major lesson that we don't realize, is that sometimes if we don't, not sometimes, a lot of the times it's bigger than just us. The things that I'm doing now are bigger than just Najara. Like, that don't mean it's gonna go to the point where I influence people who aren't in my media circle, but that don't mean it can't be. It can even be like the things that I'm doing now influence my little brothers, which it does. So like being aware of how I carry myself, decisions that I make, blah blah blah, will consciously or subconsciously influence them and what decisions they make, and how, when they look for example how to live their life, they're gonna look to me and I influence them. So if I am lazy and don't do certain things, they will feel inclined to also do so. But if I live my life in an upright way, it will lead them inclined to do so. That don't mean they'll do it, but they'll know that that wasn't the standard set by me. And or even then, like they can also be inspired by that. So with the condolences given and them all attributing themselves, the common thing was them all saying that they wouldn't be in their position if it wasn't for him. I think it's important to realize that there's a lot of power in just following through and doing what you do, because I think there's countless stories of that, of like someone who might not have been the biggest, but they influenced somebody who was the biggest. Like I think of like Luther Vandross and how he was like in love with like I think her name is Dionne Warwick or something like that. Sorry, and sorry, don't take that as quote. I can't remember her exact name, but it was a female singer, and he ended up like singing her song at an award show, and he just really like he was inspired by her. So it's like you never know who you could be inspiring, and I think to me it's another example for me to just do what I need to do and put forth what I need to put forth, because you never know who's watching, you never know who gets inspired by it, and it's just our journey. It's what we're supposed to do. Like, we're not supposed to play it safe. Like Jim Ron always says, it's all like it's not nothing safe. It's all risky. That's what he said. It's all risky. We none of us make it out alive. This whole life is risky. Like, so, and I'll get into that a little bit later. Did I put in my gems? If not, that'll be an honorary gem because I love that Jim Ron quote. But with that, let's get into the gems. Again, if you made it this far, do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe. Do me a favor, if you've been enjoying this podcast, send it to a friend. Share it. Share it. Don't be scared to share it. Don't be too cool. Share with somebody. Hopefully they enjoy it as well. Also, I want you to also tell me, have you watched the Vince Staples show? Is it good? What's your rating? Give me a rating. And how did you feel about Akira Toriyama passing away, if you knew about it beforehand? Let me know all that stuff too, whether in the comment section or if you listen to this in the email. Reply to the email, and I'll get back to you. So the gems of this week, I got 2 on here, but I'll get one more. The first gem is, I was talking to Ariel, my homie Ariel, and I was showing her a video because one of my favorite people of all time is, looking to see if I have it on my show, is, I don't know if you can read that right there. Let me see if I can put that on there. I don't think it's coming out, but it's a book called The Good Neighbor, The Life and Work of Fred Rogers. One of the people I've looked up to is Mr. Rogers, one of the kindest souls in the universe. I mean, really, like reading this book is like literally there wasn't like a mean part about him. And he was definitely, he's like one of my inspirations on different levels. Growing up, I used to watch the reruns of his show on PBS. I think he opened up my eyes to, I don't want to use the word thinking, but it almost feels like that. Like, he just opened up my world in general, as far as how to navigate emotions and dealing with tough emotions, and kind of pointing out things that we feel, but we don't know, and I feel like he really opened my mind up at that time, being a young kid, to doing that. But with that, he has a couple of Hall of Fame speeches, one of which, well, both of I showed to Ariel, but one of which, after watching again, I just forgot how powerful it was. And I believe it was, I can't remember where it was at, but in this speech, when he gave him the award, is given to him by the young man that was in a wheelchair that he brought on the show a long time ago. The boy had grown up into being a man, and he was the one who awarded him the show, so he was excited to see him. And and then with that, he was surprised, but he gave his speech, and in his speech he said something so powerful to me. And this is a gem that I want to give to you guys, but it's also something to keep in remembrance, for me to keep in remembrance as I work with Woozy Media, as I help create people's videos. And in it, he talked about how important our role is as broadcasters. He used the term broadcaster because he's talking about TV, but essentially everybody who creates on social media, YouTube, makes movies, whatever. He's talking about those people. People who create stuff for the consumption of people. We have a duty to be careful or have a real reason why we're showing what we're showing. He said there's a lot of power in showing certain things. So be wary of those different things. He talked about 2 examples. He said one example is that if it wasn't for TV, the Hollywood orchestra, the leader of the Hollywood orchestra at that time, wouldn't have never been that guy, because his family, nobody in his family had a musical bone in their body, didn't play an instrument, nothing like that. He was inspired strictly by TV and the musical stuff that he saw on TV. So TV and broadcasting and in our world, social media and YouTube can be powerful in that way, because they can inspire people to do things they never thought that they can do. But on the opposite end, he talked about a kid who kidnapped, it was like a 13-year-old kid who kidnapped an 8-year-old. And after they caught him, they asked him why he did it. He said, life's short. It was just something to do. I just did it just to do it. And it shows the double-edged sword that comes with being a broadcaster and showcasing these different things that we do, especially things that, especially if we're not careful and we're just frivolous with what we're sharing and showing. So I think that's really just hit home for me, because again, being that I want to do Woozy Media and I want to create not only my own content, but allow people to create their message and share that, you have to be, it's important for me to be aware of what I'm creating or helping to create, because we don't ever want to negatively influence people. That's like the double-edged sword that comes with music. Like, as much as I love rap, and I love gangster rap with all my heart, it's challenging that I grew up and loved that music, because I understand that same music leads people to do things that aren't good. It leads people to, what's the word? Like, hold up a negative thing, a negative lifestyle, which again is why I love Jay-Z, because he talks about, like, I just gave the real of it. I was never trying to, like, can't think of the word, encourage it. Whatever the word is, y'all know the word I'm talking about, but he made it important to note that he didn't want to, I'm not here to glorify the lifestyle. I'm just sharing what it is, the positive and the negatives of it, because there's consequences. Consequences is positive and negative. It don't matter. So I really enjoyed him, but nonetheless, we have to be aware as creators today of what we're putting forth in the world, which is funny, because it brings the whole reason why I even started Woozy Media, and some of the philosophy behind is that I feel like we see so much negative things. I think the Shade Room was the biggest example of something that really just irked my soul, was that it blew up and became this big thing, but I felt like it was always promoting toxic and negative things about my culture. And I want to create the balance. I don't think you can really stop people from doing that, but where's the positive? I think Uninterrupted is a really good example of positive. Granted, it's around sports, but positive aspects. I got a lot of pages I follow, like Black Love and stuff like that. But nonetheless, it's important to remember that we have to be wary and be responsible for the things that we're putting forth, even when it comes to just sharing something else. I think we're quick to share something on our story, but we don't realize, like, my friend at work makes the joke, or my coworker at work makes the joke, I don't want to cause you to stumble. We have to be wary that, yeah, it might be cool for me, but you don't want to share something that can also make somebody else, stumble, or cause them to do something that they wouldn't necessarily like to do, or, that they've been teetering with. So yeah, I think it was very powerful. I'm gonna post the link down below. I want you guys to check it out. And yeah, again, if you're a creator, please be mindful of the messages and information that you put forward. Especially when you're sharing, like trying to share negative things. And I don't think there's anything wrong with sharing negative things, especially if you're trying to bring awareness to avoid them. But be very careful of, be aware that not everything negative you need to address. Sometimes it's best just to leave that be, leave it where it's at, because sometimes by bringing it to forward, you bring more light on something. But yeah, with that, the second thing was good old Auntie Tab. Love me some Tabitha Brown. She shared it was an older video. Somebody was reposting it, but it was her just, coming to the camera. I think she was holding an apple slice. And she just like, finish what you started. And then she leads into a monologue after that. But I think it's such a simple statement. Finish what you started. And she goes on to say, like, I know it's hard, I know it's challenging, stuff like that. And honestly, I hate to be corny, I really felt like I needed to hear that in that time, because especially with this video editing, not the video recording, but the video editing part of it, it can be easy to record a whole video. I think anybody who try to vlog understands this. It's easy to record all that content, but once you stand in there with all that content to edit, is a very, very daunting thing. So to remember that, to at least have the goal just to finish what you started, is so simple. It's so easy. Just finish it. Even if it's a little late, just finish what you started. Don't not do it. That's something that I have to remember, because not only do I have, because even with the client stuff, it's so easy to get caught up and try to do that. I lose sight of stuff like the Monkey Mind Journal, stuff like that, but I have to always remember to push forward. And I really loved Auntie Tab for that. With that, it kind of inspired me to share like where I've been as far as like my life, because I think about, I've had different exit points in my life. And when I say exit points, I mean, I've had different opportunities where I could have just stopped. When I went to school, I was in AP Calculus. I made a decision, either go to college or I'm going to try to start a business. It's that simple. I've always wanted a business, still want a business, never going to stop wanting a business. I've always loved the journey of the entrepreneur, and I will always love the journey of entrepreneur. I've been enjoying this journey so far, but nonetheless, I've had multiple exit routes. Always want to start a business, didn't go to college, so that meant for me, I got to go straight to the workforce, With that, I was balancing that and working with my family business. My family had a restaurant at the time. So my world was, I'm going to work and then like basically buy time and learn this business. And we're going to basically run this business as a family or whatever. That didn't pan out. Also during that, I had started a vending machine business because I had a whole bunch of spare money. I was raised by old folks who said, don't just F off the money, put some of that money to different things that can make you some more money. So at that time, the thing that was on my mind, heavy on my mind, was vending machines, because it was the way to make passive income. So I did that for a while. It made a little bit of money, learned a lot of skills. COVID destroyed all that. When COVID happened, vending machine, I have 2 vending machines I just don't have possession of anymore, because one of the businesses closes with the machine in there, and the person passed away who owned the building. That's its own story. And then the other place, the vending machine broke, lost contact, moved out here. It became a fiasco. Nonetheless, the vending business didn't work out for me either. That could have been an exit point. When the family business didn't work out, that could have been an exit point. I I went into streaming sometime after when come to realization that the family business wasn't gonna pan out. I decided what could I spend some time with. I really loved gaming at the time. And a big thing for me is about productivity. So I'm like, how can I game but also make money? Oh, streaming and Twitch is a thing. So if I can learn how to make money on Twitch, then I can really play games and it like do something I love and make money at the same time, you know? Did streaming, realized that the point in life that I was at that time, I didn't have the ability to dedicate the time that I needed. Twitch is one of those things where you have to sit and play the game for 4 hours at a time, like anyway. So it's a lot that comes with that. I couldn't do it. You know, I could have gave it up there, but I decided to pivot there and just build a brand instead. And that's where I am now as far as building a brand. So now it's just about building a social media presence. I was debating about making a personal brand or a business brand. So because I couldn't pick one or the other, I just did both. So, been personally branding, you know, I'm just me. Need to post more on my social media. I love the concept of personal brand because it allows me, especially as a Gen Zer, I have to come to terms that I'm a Gen Zer. As a Gen Zer, I love the ability for someone to just look at my page and get an idea who I am instead of having to explain it, because I feel like explaining it is just too much work. But also with the Woozy Media brand, I think doing something that's bigger than just me, that can live on past me or get more people involved. I think there's a lot of merit and a lot of, I just like the way I like the places that my mind has to go to make something like that happen. So yeah, that's where I am now. And through all that, I kept it short, but there was a lot more challenges and a lot more rigor in that journey than I expressed in these last few minutes. But thinking about what NT Tab said as far as just finish what I started. When I left high school, my goal was to start a business. There's nothing that's going to stop me from starting a business. There's multiple things that tried to stop me, but because I started myself on this journey, like, I shouldn't say because, being on this journey, I've learned so much. And once I get past this and I finally get to the point where not only do I start a business, because I started a business before, obviously, but not only have I started a business, but I'm able to sustain a business and even work for myself, it will be that much better. My life will be on a different trajectory at that point. I mean, it's on that trajectory now in the effort of chasing that. Like Earl Sweatshirt, what the hell I'm talking about. Earl Nightingale says, success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. I'm successful in the fact that I'm just chasing after it. As long as I keep going. I only fail when I give up. So, yeah, finish what you started. Like she said, it's hard, but there's so much that comes from that journey, that so much that came from my journey that I wouldn't trade in ever. Like, I've learned so much. I've met so many dope people. I've seen some things that are like I never thought I would see, and been in some places I never thought I'd be in, and it's all because I kept going. Not, I could have easily gave up and worked at St. Martin. I would have saw this, been in the same city and had a house and stuff like that, but I wouldn't have experienced the different things that I did and been in the rooms and talked to the people that I did. So I'm glad that I've been on this journey, and I'm definitely gonna finish what I started. So, y'all here first. One day y'all gonna see me with the business. Y'all gonna see me retire from my job, and we're gonna be up, and we gonna remember these days. But yeah, for y'all, if y'all struggling with, y'all could be in y'all could be in a space right now where you're challenged, you're struggling. I'm here to say, like Auntie Tab said to me and said to us, finish what you started. Yes, it's hard. Yes, things aren't going your way, but nonetheless, you have to keep going. It's going to be worth it. All in the end, it's going to be worth it. Just finish what you started. I don't care. It might take a little bit longer than you thought, but keep on going. We're going to make it through, and we're going to make it past all this. There is one more thing that I said I was going to share. I'm trying to remember. There was a gem that I said I was going to share earlier, and I can't remember. Oh, it was my boy, Jim Ron. I don't know if I won't, I'm going to try to find a clip. If I can't find a clip, please forgive me. But if I do find it, I'm going to put it down below like I always do. By the way, if you guys don't know, I put all the links to the gems that I have in the description. Or if you get the newsletter, first of all, if you're not subscribed to the newsletter, what are you doing? Subscribe. And I also email over those when I send the podcast link. But there was a Jim Ron clip where he talks about people saying it's the reason why they won't start a business the reason why they won't do anything bigger than themselves is because it's risky. Oh, starting a business is risky. Buying a house is risky. XYZ is risky. He said it's all risky. And I really love this message because it really is all risky. Because he's like, think about, you're talking about what about the bill? You know, like, yeah, it's risky. And imagine the bill you're going to have when it don't work out. But imagine the bill you're going to have when you never even tried. That's what he was saying. Like, sometimes we can just get caught up in the negative and not really live in it. And we gotta snap out of that, because you gain, it's not about just the money sometimes. You gain, like I talked about earlier, you gain so much from the experience, so much from living it, so much from even trying, that you'll never ever go back to where you were before, because you're just a whole nother person. To start a business, to become a salesman, to go for the highest promotion. These different things challenge you in ways that you haven't been challenged before, and turn you into a new being, but evolve you and put you in new spaces. And because of that, what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, again, because of that, you'll never find yourself in those old rooms. And if you are, you're going to find yourself like not related no more. Like, I found myself in positions like that where it's like, I used to do these different things. I used to hang out with these people. I used to do this and that, whatever. And now I'm in a space where sometimes, like, I try to go back into that stuff. I'm not feeling it. I'm pretty sure you guys probably feel that way, where you go see people you met from high school, you knew from high school, and they're in the same position that they were when you left them, and you're in a different position. You're just like, what the, like, you're like, yeah, what y'all want to do? We should just kick it and smoke. It's like, what? Kick it and smoke? You crazy? Yeah, bro, we should just, like, I've had friends who was like, yeah, bro, we should just chop up and get a drink. And I'm like, I don't got nothing against getting a drink, because I'm a drinker, truthfully, but it's just, some people just, like, it just don't hit the same. Or even, like, you might go get that drink and the conversation just don't flow the same. Like, that person's talking about work and complaining about it, and you just talking about how good life has been. So, to not deter too far from the point, when it comes to things being risky, yes, we can get to the point where we realize there's risk involved, but we have to realize that it's all risky. What am I saying? It's all risky, but there's a way that you can go about it where you can achieve it. If you're talking about risky in the means of financial, don't invest as much. Do it slow. I think about me and my photography and video career. I bought a little busted ass A6100 that's up there broken to this day. Got it for like $400, you know, and it lasted me a long time. I was able to learn how to be a photographer, take different shots, this and that, whatever. I learned all that through that camera before I bought my first $1,100, $1,500 camera. Like, even the cameras I'm using right now aren't that expensive, but nonetheless, why would I go buy a FX30 or FX3 or a full frame camera when I don't know how to record video? So why not buy a cheap camera and learn that way? That's what I've been doing. So yeah, it's risky, but then, well, let's just think it through. How can we make this less risk averse? Because if you don't do it and you stay doing what you're doing, how do we know? We got to realize life is going to happen regardless. Life is going to happen regardless. It was a girl talking about, I can't remember who was talking about, but somebody was talking about this. I think it was Les Brown. He was saying that it was this girl had she had like when she was born, she had like this, I think she had ALS or something like that. Or yeah, like some kind of like muscular disease where she was in a wheelchair her whole life. And then one day, so she kind of, you know, in that, you know, she felt a certain way about her life and this, now, whatever. And then one day she fell out her wheelchair and hit her head. And that caused a series of events that caused more health problems for her. And I remember she said, she was speaking, I can't remember how he said he started to speak to her, but she was telling Les that was the best thing that ever happened to her, because it let her know that life is going to happen to her regardless. You know, she was in a wheelchair and thinking that it can't get no worse. So we get caught up in our small scope of life and realize this is how bad it's going to get. Like, it can't get no worse than this and whatever, but life is still going to happen to you regardless. So it shifted her perspective and she was able to appreciate life more and live life. And we have to realize, like, I think that's what Jim Rohn's trying to convey, is saying it's all risky, is that, yeah, we could say it's risky because of the financial, because of this and that, but it might not work, this and that, whatever. But who's to say that we have all the time in the world to do it the safe way? There's no such thing as a safe way. I can work my life, pay into my 401k, and that's all I do until I get 65. By 65, I can get cancer. Then what? You know what I'm saying? God forbid. But those things can happen. So why not go for it? Is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, guys. Appreciate you guys again. I don't know, I was a hard in like that. That's all I got to say, pretty much. But I want to say thank you guys for getting this far. As always, I appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Thank you again. If you haven't already, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like the podcast. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, like, comment, rate the podcast 5 stars on Apple Music, pretty please. And if you're watching this on YouTube and you haven't subscribed to the newsletter, please do. It goes right to your email. You can listen to it immediately, and you'll get all the little notes and stuff like that straight to your email. Do that, please. I think that's everything. I think that's all the housekeeping. Do me a favor. Share this with somebody, please, as always. And this is the Monkey Mind Journal. I'm your boy Woozy, and we're out of here. Peace.